Alrighty, and we're already back in the fourth game, I believe, between our players here, Herr Acker and TyrantQ, who are playing the loser semi-final in the Coronation Cup. And the last game was absolutely amazing. What a play by Herr Acker, who really likes his early aggression. And who did so much damage with his few pesky militia and men-at-arms, and that shows you how important momentum is. He was always in the offensive, he was untouched at home, and his opponent just struggled throughout the whole game. And now we are on the home map of our player in blue, which is TyrantQ. So that's why I'm pausing here, because I'm always confused, because it's like, food please? No, it's actually not food please. It is TyrantQ, who's just playing on the laptop of his bigger brother for some reason. Let's look at the map. So of course it's arena, so that means we won't see early aggression, or probably not see early aggression here like in the last game. So that shows you that TyrantQ is kind of scared. He's like, oh, I'm always pressured by my opponent so much in the early game, I need some time to rest. And who can blame him? And unfortunately for Acker, the gate bug, or the palace, the wall bug, has been fixed that I showed off in the semifinals against Display Buzzer, so you can no longer just delete the walls of your opponent. And you cannot do the tower hop in Definitive Edition because the gates are not at the corners anymore, and so there's really very few options to go aggressive in the early game. We've seen Gummibear try on Arena. He tried to force his way through with towers, but I think overall it wasn't too successful there, because it just takes a long time to get through stone walls. Let's have a quick look at the civilizations that we have here. So Acker getting the Chinese, I think a very strong civilization. However, he is idling so much. Why is he not bringing in his turkeys? Does he not see the turkeys? Maybe there's just too much clutter on this map. I mean, look at all of these brushes. I still have not installed the mod which removes all of the useless cluttery over here. But I think that Acker, in the end, he will manage. He will find the turkeys. He's just getting the deer. I mean, you should push the deer with your scout, but I think at this level of these players, we cannot expect that. I think that they're already doing very good job, and to push in the deer is just asking too much. And even for better players, we've seen it in this tournament so far, they go for the fancy push, but then they just idle their TC because they're so occupied by pushing in the deer. So we have 4 deer over here. I was wondering how many deer we got here. I only see 2. Oh no, there's the third one. So it's 4 and 4, because sometimes it seems like there's only 3 deers in there, 3 deer in your base. Now the civilization for TyrantQ is the Malians, and if we have a quick look at the tech tree, we see that the barracks units gets +1 armor per age, so that's something that could be very good if he decides to go for a long swordsman siege tower drop, but I doubt that he will go for this. So interesting matchup. I would not say that those are traditional arena civilizations anymore, or at all. So it's not really any meta strategy that we can expect, like no fast imperial with the Turks or whatever, but rather these players will have to improvise. They will have to adapt to what their civilization can do and just make something happen here. So a lot of players really don't like arena. I mean, arena players are named clowns, etc. And that's because there's very little action in the beginning. So the Dark Age can already be kind of like a long time where there's not much happening, and on arena that's prolonged a lot actually. However, I think it's still a good map, and that's why it's always in the map pools. It's always played because it allows us to also see a different side of the game, to show us a little bit more a macro-oriented late game style of this game that can be played as well. So I don't think Arena deserves all the hate that it gets. However, I can also understand that most people prefer very aggressive match and maps that encourage aggressiveness. But we have seen that in the last game, so it's, I think, for the viewers also a nice change of pace to really go for a different style. And it also shows you very good players can really win on any game. They can win on open maps, but they can also win on arena, and that's something that you also have to keep in mind. I mean, even if you win on Arabia, you might lose on arena, and but very good players, or the best players, they are able to win on any map. So that's why it's also good to play one of these once in a while. Although I'm a little bit surprised that it was even in the map pool, seeing as Food Please picked out the maps, so I think there might have just been a misclick by him. So if we look at what the players are doing, I said that in Dark Age not much is happening, but that's actually not true. I mean, there are some small decisions that can lead to bigger snowballing effects later on. So for instance, we have early Loom here by TyrantQ. I mean, he's very used to this. I mean, from normal maps, you would just go for Loom and then the Feudal Age. However, the issue here is that you're idling your TC when you could produce more villages. So usually most players, most professional players, go for the Loom only like in Castle Age maybe. Or they forget it entirely because they're just walled and so they never think about this at all. It seems to me that TyrantQ maybe wants to go for some towers, or is he thinking about a castle drop, but he's definitely already on stone, and he's on gold with 2 villagers, a couple of them on berries, a couple of farms over here, a couple of idols, and indeed he does not take the deer. So I think this goes to show that he's not really experienced with arena, because really you should be able, without any farm, you don't need to lay any farm to really go up to Castle Age. So that goes to show you that like his eco balance, his food taking is not really optimal in this place. But again, we cannot blame him. I mean, they're newer players. He likes more the aggressive style. He likes to play with military, as he always says military wins you the game. So who can blame him? On the other hand, Acker having 3 less villages, and I think that was this idle period here in the beginning, was to blame for this. However, he is making sure that his food is not wasted. He's taking the boar over here, he's taking the deer, he's now going for the market, although he needs a lot more food actually, so that's something he needs to think about. And still, even though as arena you're protected, you should always place your farms around your TC, because you never know what your opponent might do. He might go for some crazy strategy, bust in at the backside here and maybe, and then your farms might be in peril. I think this location is still okay, but yeah, I think in general placing a second mill was not a great idea, because if you look at the walking distance, I mean, yes, it's shorter to here, but it's not so much longer to here, and these villages are quite efficient at carrying the food. If you look at the resources, so Herr Acker has some gold and stone in the back. However, due to this open spot over here, they can actually be reached over the walls. So something that he should probably do is make a secondary wall of here, just place a few houses here, and then you can delete some palisade walls or some stone walls, and then these resources are completely safe. Because right now, yeah, he does not have any safe resources, so all of these resources can actually be reached by archers, some upgraded crossbowmen over the wall. Now TyrantQ, on the other hand, he has a very safe, or pretty safe gold over here. It's not entirely safe. This one is also fairly good, but the stone is very much in the front. And I think he wants to go for a castle drop. He's now on the way to the Castle Age. He has a lot of stone miners over here, 5 in total, and he already has 420 stone. So I think he will be able to just go for a castle drop and end this in the early Castle Age, if Herr Acker is not realizing this and is not able to go up himself, and I'm not sure if he will be able to do that. Yeah, he's lacking a little bit of food still. He now has to drop the farm, so his food economy, his food rations were not planned out perfectly. Now he's only missing 7 food, and that must be so annoying for him that he's just missing that little bit. but now he really, I hope he really goes for the stone, because the only way I think he can stop the castle drop is by placing his own defensive castle. But I think that's exactly what he's doing here. He's a little bit behind, but it could still be early enough, because also TyrantQ, he's not going forward. At this point, he could already like send all of these villagers forward and then just drop the castle. Instead, he's now placed the barracks. Okay, and now he's going forward with these villages, but again, it's only 5 villages. It takes a little while until they complete the castle, so that might give his opponent enough time to at least drop some defensive counter castle over here. Oh, but on the contrary, he is going forward. What is happening over here? Are we going to see the old castle switcheroo? I think he does not realize that his opponent is there, but now he should see this. Oh, come on, you should see that there's a castle over here. The face of the Lord is staring at you. He is killing the scout of his opponent. And the problem for Acker is he does not have enough, not nearly enough stone. And now he must realize, oh shit, I don't have enough stone. I'm not up to castle age. There's a castle coming up over here. But maybe he could just place his castle over here. And that might be a good position for him. I think he did buy some stone. He does have enough stone, so maybe all of this was planned and well executed by him. And that's what you see here. I mean, all of these villages, they just takes a long time to build the castle. But instead of defending, I think Herr Acker wants to go aggressive. But there is already a watchtower there, and that is a disaster. And this watchtower might be able, or I think it will be able, to deny this castle. I think the watchtower, it will be up in a couple of seconds, and the castle is only at 30%. And if the village's garrison, I mean, if he does some fancy dodge micro, yes, the castle might still go up, but it's only at 60%. The opponent's castle is already up. And yeah, there's some ghetto warriors or Geppetto warriors are already coming out here. This castle is now at 81%, so might complete. Oh, I hope Herr Acker notices this and does a little bit of fancy microing here. It doesn't look. Oh god, this is gonna be a down castle. Oh god, 97%, and I think that's the game. That's GG. And yeah, no reaction here from Herr Acker. Yeah, he has dropped a lot of failed castles in this series so far. I mean, you know, this castle can just be walled in at this point, and then you cannot even build it anymore. Doesn't look great. And yeah, due to this offensive castle, he cannot leave the base anymore, and that's why it would have been just better to place your defensive castle over here, shoot down this castle, deny any enemy reinforcements, because now this is just 650 stone down the drain, because yeah, you see, it's getting walled in. There's nothing you can do at this point. And now, yeah, there's the petard bust is coming in. A single one is not quite enough, but I think you don't even need the petard. You just need to shoot the wall piece with your castle, and then you can be through very easily. And now we have a siege workshop in defense. Now Herr Acker is trying to save this one, but I think he will just be a little bit too late. I mean, he will also not be able to force his way through, because remember, the tower is here. The tower is kind of hidden because it blends in very well with the walls. Actually, never noticed that for this particular set of architecture. But maybe Acker is also just thinking about booming up. Like I said, when in doubt, boom it out. But let's look at the waypoints. Yeah, there's another waypoint over here. Or maybe he even wants to go for a secondary castle drop. I mean, that would not be too bad. I mean, you could just drop another one over here, shoot down this tower, shoot down the walls, and then just have 2 castles in the face of your opponent. But at the same time, I mean, the walls have been busted and the Geppetto warriors are in. I mean, they lack upgrades, so they're pretty weak. So a couple of arrow shots will do the trick. Ooh, mangonel. Ooh. not a good choice against the Gibetta Warriors because they do melee damage. Even though they're ranged units, they're like throwing X-Men, they do melee damage, and you cannot fight them with your villagers. They just do so much damage. They're not the strongest unit, but they're very good for raiding, and you just need to retreat. Just retreat all of these villagers. They will just die. All of them will die, and the game's over. I think the GG has been called over here as he realized that he cannot build this castle anymore. His economy is getting raided. What a disaster here for Acker. I mean, he should have just this castle was way too ballsy. I mean, you already had your castle in your face, then you need to be defensive, then you need to place your own castle in the back, or maybe put a little more cheeky in the front to also get rid of reinforcements maybe. But in general, you need to place it in the back and then wall off here, because otherwise this happens, that is just like a bust through this wall piece, and then a lot of villages are in peril. And yeah, I think that's it for the losers final between Herr Acker and TyrantQ. Oh, excuse me, it's what a disaster in terms of like players smurfing over here. And this means that TyrantQ is advancing to the losers final, so to speak. So the match for place number 5. And then we also have a placement for the places 7 and 8 as well between the losers of the losers final. And then we also have the grand final to look forward to. So still a couple more games to be played in this tournament before it will be wrapped up. And so far we've seen some crazy strategies, some amazing plays by especially our newer players. So I'm really happy that they're picking up the game, that they're so enthusiastic about it, that they're really putting in the effort and work required to get decent at it. And they're showing us some great plays, and I think in the future they will also be able to contest for the higher places in tournaments. Alrighty guys, I've been Peter Host. This was a pleasure to cast this series or these games for you, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.